Teacher,
Again, good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
we're fine. Good
Morning,
morning.
sir.
Good morning. So, our topic for this day or today is quite long. It is about genetics. Are you familiar with genetics?
The nature.
The name itself? Okay. So, let's discuss about inheritance, about heredity, about variations, about where our genes came from. What are those genes, right? So, I will share to you my screen.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. So let's start discussing about heredity, inheritance, and variations. So how these actually interact to us and how important to know these topics. What is genetics, by the way? Okay. Genetics is a branch of science, or what is genetics? It's a branch of science concerned, a branch of biology concerned with the study of genes. Genes, okay? There is it. No? Please take down the terminologies because there are a lot of terminologies here. Tell you honestly. Genetic variations or and heredity in an organism. Gregor Mendel, he is the father of modern genetics. Please take down. A scientist and Augustinian friar. He is actually a priest working on the 19th century, was the first to study genetics scientifically because Gregor Mendel has a plant, a pea plant, and he actually crossbreeds on and actually observed the traits of those pea plants. He is considered as the father of modern genetics. Correct. Mendel studied the trait inheritance patterns in the way traits are handed down from parents to offspring. That is why some of your genes came from your parents and ancestors. Okay? He observed that organisms, in his observation, the pea plants inherit traits by way of discrete or units of inheritance. So let's discuss further. This term still used today in somewhat ambiguous definition of what is referred to as a gene. Okay? Genes are sequences of nucleotides in DNA. Please take down notes. Or RNA. Please tell me if I'm too fast, okay? Right? Please tell me if I'm too fast. We need to, dissect the topic one at a time because this is too long. Again, nucleotides in DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. We'll be discussing that one also later. And RNA stands for ribonucleic acids. That encodes the synthesis of gene products, either RNA or protein. Okay? We are actually composed of a lot of proteins in our body. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. Please take down notes. A molecule composed of two polynucleotide chains because this is a chain of um, deoxyribose or ribonucleic acids that coil around each other to form a double helix. It's a double helix strand carrying genetic instructions for development. Again, this DNA is carrying now the genes or carrying now, it's a coil of a double helix carrying genetic instructions. Genetic instructions which compose us, okay, which compose an organism for development, functioning, growth, and reproduction of all known organisms. Correct. And many virus, which is found in the nucleus of a cell. Okay. Again, the DNA is found in the nucleus of the cell. Are you familiar with the nucleus? Grade 9?
No, sir.
You're not familiar with the nucleus? You're supposed to be
I
done
think
with...
that's in the animal cell.
Yes, it's in the center, the nucleus.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. Again, it is actually found in the nucleus. What is the definition again of your nucleus? What is a nucleus? What is nucleus?
It is in the center of
Aside
your
from its center, what
cell.
is the function of the nucleus? Yes, correct, De La Cruz. Aside from it is found in the center of the cell, what is the function of the nucleus?
Is it the cell, sir? Nucleus, sir?
Yes. What is the function of your nucleus? Considering as it is considered as at the center of the cell. Your nucleus contains genes.
Yeah, genes, the genetic materials.
The genetic materials, your DNA is actually in your nucleus. And your nucleus considered as what? Considered as, if it is a computer, a CPU. Because a lot of instructions are encoded there for cell growth, development, and functioning. Okay, let's move forward. This will be the basis of heredity. What is heredity then? Heredity is the passing on of traits from parents to offspring. It's either to asexual reproduction, meaning to say if it is asexual reproduction, this is what? What is asexual reproduction or sexual reproduction? When you say asexual reproduction, it is without the use of what? Organs for reproduction. Okay? When you say asexual reproduction, it is without the use of organs for reproduction. In plants, we have a lot of asexual reproduction, like stem cutting. Okay, what else? Marcoting. Those are asexual reproduction in plants. Okay? Because we're not using gametes. We're not using what? The reproductive system. Okay? In animals, we have also asexual reproduction in vitro fertilization. Okay? Are you familiar with in vitro fertilization? IVF? Okay? In vitro fertilization is we are fertilizing the egg, or we're fertilizing the egg outside the womb. Okay? We are now fertilizing the egg outside the womb. That's in vitro fertilization. Other term is test tube babies. Are you familiar with test tube babies? Anybody? Can you still hear me? Grade 9, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Other term is test tube babies. Okay, that's one way also to reproduce or to produce a human asexually. Okay? Through in vitro fertilization, through surrogate motherhood, meaning to say that the egg cell is being fertilized outside the womb and inserted back to the womb of a surrogate mother. That is actually one of the way of asexual reproduction in animals. How about sexual reproduction? Sexual reproduction is with the use of the
The
reproductive
organs.
system, the organs for reproduction, and the gametes, the sperms and the eggs. Okay? The offspring cells or organisms acquire the genetic formation of their parents. Remember that your genes came from your parents. How did you acquire those genes from your parents? This is now the heredity. Okay? Question so far? Again, tell me if I'm too fast. Question so far? Question so far?
No, sir.
Okay. This is now the illustration of how your DNA would look like. Okay. This is the DNA. A double helix strand with phosphates and sugar. with the base pairs. Base pairs, we'll be talking about the base pairs later.
Sure.
And I want to
Is
take
that
down-
how it really looks inside?
Yes, under the microscope, it looks like one, a double helix. And remember that your chromosome, if this is your chromosome, if you're going to unfold your chromosome, it would be a long chain of DNA. Okay? Again, this is your cell. Have you seen your cell there? This is your
Yes,
cell.
sir. It's not from the blood. They just
No.
did the.
Blood is different. Remember that your blood has a lot of components, right? The red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma. Okay. So this is actually an animal cell because it is circular, right? Plant cell is in square or rectangle in form because it has cell wall. Anyway, let's continue with the discussion. Chromosome structure. Chromosomes are organized structures located in the nucleus of the cells. Okay? So if you're going to group the DNA, it will form a chromosome. They carry information essential to the cellular functions such as cell division and cell differentiation. When you say cell division, are you familiar with cell division? Supposed to be you're done with cell division, right? In grade 7.
No, sir. We haven't had that yet.
You didn't have that yet? Okay. Good luck. Cell division this is the way how our cells in animal cells, we're talking about animal cell first, in animal cell to grow. Now we grow through cell division. We're adding cell. So there are phases of cell division. Maybe I will introduce cell division after this. Now we have phases of cell division, the interphase, prophase, anaphase, and telophase. Prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So those are the phases of cell division. And why cell division is really essential? Because this is the way we grow. This is how we grow. This is also how plants grow. Through cell division. And cell differentiation. When we say cell differentiation, in a single cell, it will create a different cell. Like for example, in the womb, in a womb, you can see a zygote, right? Zygote is a fertilized egg, okay, with complete number of chromosomes or diploid. Are you familiar with diploid?
Again, sir?
Diploid. Are you familiar with diploid? Are you familiar with diploid? When you say diploid, it is actually the complete number of chromosomes. Like for example, in humans, how many chromosomes do we have? Diploid. In humans, how many chromosomes do we have? We have 46 chromosomes all in all and 23 pairs because it is actually paired. Okay? In cell differentiation, in a single cell or a single egg cell, it will create a different cell. Like skin cells or muscular tissues. Okay? That is actually cell differentiation. The term chromosome comes from the Greek word chroma, which means color, and soma, which means body. So it is a colored body. Why? Chromosomes are called such because they're strongly stained by some colorful dyes used in research. You cannot actually see a chromosome under the microscope if it is not stained. Okay? It should be stained in order for us to observe the chromosome.
It's colorless, sir.
Yes, it is actually transparent. That is why we need to stain it over in order for us to observe the chromosome. Chromosomes appear double-stranded, yes, in the nucleus of cells before cell division. No? If the cell is under interface, or shall we say a preparation stage for cell division, you can actually see chromosomes there. No? A very large chromosome, because it is preparing itself for a possible cell division. Each strand is called chromatid. So if you're going to divide, it is in the X form, right? Double helix. If you're going to divide the chromosome, you can actually get a chromatid. It's made up of a long DNA coiled around protein called histones. So we'll be discussing this one after. I have an illustration after this. The DNA molecule wrapped around protein core called nucleosomes. It's a protein that covers the DNA. And the nucleosome is the basic unit of chromosomes. Chromatids are linked to the point, or shall we say, connected through a point called centromere. It is the center of the chromosome, which divides the chromosome into two sections or arms. The short section of the chromosome is called P-arm, and the long section is called Q-arm. Please take down notes. Are you familiar with this? We are still in the introduction, by the way. Okay?
Roger.
I'm sorry. Please take down notes, because these are terminologies and this will come out in your major exams.
Sir, is this in the LMS?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You can download actually the PowerPoint, and you can download also the module itself. It's in there. Please ask questions anytime. You can actually interrupt the discussion. It's okay with me. It's not a big deal, as long as you learn something out of it. And by the way, I observed that some of you are not taking the lessons seriously. Some of you also taken for granted the activities. Well, it's up to you. That's my answer. I'm not forcing you to do so, but I will not give grades to those who don't have output. How can I give you grade, right? Okay, but it's up to you. Okay. Now, if you're asking me about the lesson, I am really serious with science, to tell you honestly. I'm just being honest with you. I'm really serious with science. Aside from that, um, science is not just a subject for me. No, it is not just a subject for me. I'm handling different science subjects, including senior high. Okay, I am a teacher before with senior high and all the sciences, even general biology and all of those. And I am just shocked why you just disregard my subject. At the same time, very passive in terms of if your subject. Now again, it's up to you. If you fail, maybe that is because of you. It's not because of your teachers. We cannot give what we don't have, or we cannot give uh, grades without outputs. That's it. Now, if you're going to ask me about me as a teacher, you can actually ask my previous students. No, it's in my wall. No, I really put an intention to post it on my wall and to have a conversation with my students on how our class are going on, right? Because I don't want my students to take for granted the science, my subject, because that is my life, to tell you honestly. Right? Shall we continue? Okay, this is now the illustration on how your chromosome would look like. Again, the centromere at the center, because it joins now the two sister chromatids. This is the chromatids. Okay, the long arm and the short arm. Okay? And if you're going to look at this one, if you're going to look at the tip of your chromosomes, you can actually see telomeres. Now, telomeres also plays a vital role in protecting your genes or protecting the DNA. Why? Because during the process, this may removed if there is no protection. That is why it is totally protected. Questions so far? Please ask questions, terminologies, so that we can unlock the difficulty.
Sir, is there colors? Colors among genes.
Actually, it is being colored in order for you to identify, no? In order for you to identify those strands. Like for example, are you referring to the base pairs? Have you
Like
seen the
just the
colors?
colors ba?
Let's go back to the illustration. Let's go back. I will let you see.
Like the animal siya ba?
This one. Remember, have you seen the colored one at your left side? Okay. The colored one there illustrates those base pairs. Okay. These base pairs will be discussed later in our lesson. And remember that we need to color this one in order for us to identify. Under the microscope, the color is not that colored, right? The color under the microscope, it depends upon the dye or the material being used. It could be blue, it could be violet, it depends upon, okay? Because these structures needs to be stained in order to distinguish. Remember that these structures are really transparent. You cannot see this one even under the microscope without stains.
So the colors are based on the microscopes,
No,
so
the
we can
colors
see
is
them.
based on the dye being used or the stains being used.
Okay.
It's not based on the microscope. No, microscope are only used in order for us to view, them in a larger form because this is highly microscopic. DNA structure and function. So this is it. DNA is made up of many nucleotide molecules linked in a long chain. The basic unit of DNA is called nucleotide. Again, the basic unit of DNA is called nucleotide. Each nucleotide is made up of the following components. 5-carbon sugar called the deoxyribose, the one that I am telling you, the ribose sugar a while ago. Phosphate group or phosphorus or phosphate group, and a nitrogenous base pair. The one being colored a while ago in your left side, the illustration, gives you an idea that those are the nitrogenous base pairs because they're actually paired correctly. Incorrect pairing may lead to certain disease or certain death. Okay. Nitrogenous base pairs or nitrogenous containing bases are grouped into purine, which are again the purine or purine, which includes guanine, which is G, and adenine, which is A, and pyrimidines or pyrimidines, which include cytosine, C, and thymine, T. Are you familiar with this?
No, sir.
Okay, it's okay. Right? Adenine molecules made up of two complementary polynucleotides. When you say two complementary, they should be paired exactly. Okay? Because, running out of time. Because the nitrogen-containing bases of one chain are bonded to those of other chain according to the role of base pairing. Again, according to the role of base pairing, that adenine is always pairs paired with or pairs with thymine. So AT, okay? And cytosine is always pairs with or paired with guanine or G. Okay? Again, adenine is always paired with thymine, and cytosine is always paired with guanine. Okay? Hence,
So, sir, that's paired. I-pair na siya para maka-create og something.
yes. Yes, correct. Going back to the illustration, wait, I will check if I have the illustration here. Okay, I have. Hence, adenine and thymine are called complementary bases. They are complementary bases. And cytosine and guanine is also called complementary bases. Try to look at this
Sure.
illustration. Yes, De La Cruz.
Are there like specific pairs in order for you to create like a gene, like specific organ of the body ba?
Yes,
Is there like a specific pair?
yes, specific pairs of these complementary bases will form a specific protein. Is that what you mean? Okay. So later on, also, I will let you see a table on how these proteins are actually created. Okay. So if you're going to look at the illustration, you can see that adenine is being paired with thymine and cytosine is being paired with guanine. Okay. ATCG. Even in the right side, as you can see, the DNA base pairs. Now remember that if the cell actually performs cell division, it will cut itself, correct? It will be removed by the centromere. Remember the centromere? The centromere now will be attached to the spindle fibers. These spindle fibers pulls down or pulls apart those chromosomes, leaving a single strand chromosome or single strand DNA, and we need to create another set of DNA base pairs. That is why it should be identical. It should be the same. Otherwise, it will create a troublesome, it will create death also in the side of an organism. That's how God created us. No? Very precise. Gene structure. By the way, any questions so far? No, I like De La Cruz. She's asking questions. Yes, I really like students asking questions. In order for me to gauge also your learning and if you are interested in the subject matter. Right? Your lesson is really, interesting. Because this is how we are created. How we get our genes from our parents. No?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes, Margie.
Is there any modules for science, sir?
Yes, there is. You didn't get your modules yet?
I haven't received
It's in the LMS.
science, but
It is
I mean
uploaded
kanang
in the LMS.
modules paper, Mr. ba?
It's in the faculty.
Oh,
It's in the faculty. So if in case you didn't receive your module, you can actually download your module. It is downloadable in our LMS. And remember that we will make this as easy as possible, as you can observe in your module, if you have your modules with you. Those are just basic, very basic with a lot of illustrations in order for you to familiarize the topic. Now, I will not require you to memorize. You just familiarize the topic. By the way, our lesson will give you an idea on why liwat kay ko ni nanay and why liwat kay ko ni tatay and how did I get those genes from my tatay and nanay and my mom and dad
Sure.
and my lolo. No? Liwat man kay kong lolo, liwat kay kong lola. This is now the reason why. And later on, we will be discussing also on how these traits are being passed through from one organism to another, or from offspring, from parent to offspring. Okay.
Sir, when you were a fetus, example, by you're a fetus, the genes are already there, or
Of course.
like,
Yes. When
okay.
you are still young, when you are still in the womb of your mother, when you are still a zygote, when you're still a fetus, the genes
Is
are
it
there
possible?
already. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Is it possible, sir, the two living things, sir, ba? You combine it, sir.
No, it's not possible. Why? Remember that
Thing, sir.
humans, like for example, human, we have X and Y chromosomes only, right? X and Y. So there's no possibility that we can mix three organisms at the same time. What else? Any other question? Any other question? Please ask questions in order for me to also to gauge you. Where are you in your knowledge in science? Because you have a lot of activities after this.
How about kanang kwan, sir? Kanang dili normal nga kwan, sir ba? Tawag sir ba? Nakuha ko
Normal
na.
abilities. Yes,
Oh,
yes. Genetic disorders. Yes, there are a lot of genetic disorders. Like for example, sir, ngano man na sir na sobra man iyang tudlo. That's genetic disorder. It is in the genes. Sir, why it's sir that Down syndrome people has the same faces? Have you observed? Okay.
Yes, sir.
yes,
Because
sir, yes.
My
the
ancestor, ay, sir. My
okay.
lolas, sir, they do have the same father, ko, no?
Ah,
Maybe it's
see?
just,
That's repeated genes. Or repetition of genes can actually destroy the genes. And again, trisomy 21, that's the cause of the Down syndrome, has a problem with the 21st chromosome. Di ba we have 24 pairs, or 23 pairs, rather, 46 all in all. Okay? So if we have 23 pairs, ika-21 is trisomy 21. No, meaning to say that the chromosomes there are 3, leaving the same faces of them. Aside from that, a problem with behavioral and psychological. Behavioral in terms of they have tantrums. Are you familiar with tantrums? Saputon, no? If you have relatives with Down syndrome, you need to observe them, no? They have tantrums. Saputon na sila. Aside from that, they have also behavioral patterns. No?
Sir, tinod
Okay.
kanang magkuhan kag blood, sir ba niya? Sample lang, gikuha nga blood kay maldito, mamaldito sa kanang.
No. Not in the blood. The blood is different. Okay?
Ah, yes.
At
sir, how
birth,
about heart transplant, sir?
transplant? What do you mean transplant?
Heart transplant, sir, ba?
Heart transplant. Okay. For heart
Well, this,
transplant,
sir,
you're actually just removing the heart and transferring it to from the donor to the recipient. Okay?
most of yung batasan natin.
I think no. No, because behavior or traits are actually there already, even though you replace your vital organs. So your vital organs is already complete when you are in that age, right? So it's in there already. So heart transplant is to give you a chance to live because you have a defective heart. That's it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Margie.
How about people with with the same faces, sir, but different people?
Different faces of people came from as a single parent, or a parent, same parent, different faces.
Sir?
Is that what you mean? Or the different faces of people? What do you mean, Margie?